Hi everyone, my name is Mikhail and you are on the YouTube channel Leader Test. In this video I want to do something that no one has ever done before. I want to compare two giants on the market, these are LeaderTesk and Todoist. Let me tell you right away, in both LeaderTesk and Todoist, I have the full plan activated. And I don't want to evaluate the look and feel of the apps. I want to compare only functionality, the features, and their usability. By the way, if you are still thinking about which task scheduler to start using, I suggest you start with LeaderTesk. I will leave the link to download the program in the description. Well, let us go. The first handy thing I found in Todoist is to create task properties with just text. See, I create a task in Todoist called Go to the store at 7 o'clock today, and it realizes that this is a task property. If I press enter, it actually creates the task Go to the store at 7 o'clock today for today. Similarly, you can put any day of the week, like Saturday, or you can put any date, like September 11th. The task is set for September 11th. In LeaderTesk, you create a task on the day you need, for example today. Let us create a task Go to the store. And now to set a date for it, you need to go to Properties and specify it here. The task is set to 19. But what is inconvenient in Todoist because of this feature is the creation of repetitive tasks. For example, you want to pop a pill at a certain time every day. And in order not to create such tasks every day, you can simply set the task to repeat. In the LeaderTesk, click on a task. It has a date, and then you can set a repeat right next to it. You can set it to repeat every day. For example, every first day, or every second day, every third day. Weekly, for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monthly, every month, for example, the 7th day or every month on the 3rd. In Todoist, to create a repeat, you have to write that in the task name. For example, do exercise every day. I press enter and the task has become a recurring task. I can't just check the boxes when I want to do the task. I have to specify it by hand. The next feature that is different in LeaderTesk and in Todoist is the display of completed tasks. In LeaderTesk, if you create a task and complete it, set its status to completed, it will disappear from the list. But if you display completed tasks, like this, it will appear. That is, I completed it today, it is displayed today. But in Todoist, if you complete such a task, I have a task to complete a task. I click on it, the task is finished. But I will not be able to display it here in the Today section. To find it now, I have to go to the Productivity section and click on all completed tasks. After that, I am taken to the list of all completed tasks. The next feature is the calendar. It is designed to move between dates so you can quickly create a task on the day you want. In LeaderTesk, I have already shown that you can choose any day, any date or even a period of time. But in Todoist, you can deselect a day from the past. You can only select today's day or future dates. Why did they hide the calendar like that? If I am in the Today section, then to see the tasks for the next week, I have to click on Upcoming, then July and select, for example, the 17th day. Maybe someone works in a different way altogether and they won't need these functions. But I am showing you how I work. If I am on a task list in LeaderTesk, to move it to another date, I just need to do this. That is it. I will reschedule the task. Same thing, I can select those tasks and add them to the home project. Or I can transfer to some employee and then tasks are assigned to this employee. In Todoist, drag and drop works too, but here you can either move tasks to your inbox or drop them into some project. Now it is cool in general that they did away with multiple items in the navigator. But I think they should have at least kept the calendar. Especially since a lot of apps have the calendar here. I don't know why they hid it here. They have the maximum minimalism. But let us move on to a feature that LeaderTesk doesn't have. This integration with other services. At the moment there are 86. Let us just look at what integrations there are and be a little surprised. A lot of them I don't even know. The only thing that would be useful to me would probably be browser integration. Who doesn't know what browser integration is? It as an extension in the browser. While on any page you can right-click and add to Todoist. After that I have a task created with the name of this page and a link to it. I have created a task Todoist integrations. Leader task, by the way, also has this function, but only in Firefox browser. And what I was definitely surprised about was that Todoist doesn't have a daily planner. Most likely, it is just because they have integrations with other calendars and they decided that they just don't need a daily planner in their application. In Leader task, first you create tasks in the task list and then just move them to the right time. And then throughout the day you see what needs to be accomplished. I can also, for example, go into tomorrow and choose a window in which I have free time. And then I can create a task here. Now about filters. In both Leader task and Todoist, filters are essentially the same thing. But customization of filters is done in a completely different way. In Leader task, to customize filters, you need to display the filter panel. Now the filters appear here. These are customer, performer, project, label, contact, date and color. This is where I can reset all the filters altogether. I click on date, reset. Now I have all the tasks displayed because I don't have any filters at all. This is the customer. Let us select me, executor. You don't have to choose anyone. Project. Let us choose the home project, then all the tasks that I created in the home project will be displayed here. Next label, you can skip it. And the date, let us choose the date for the whole month. That is it, only 2 tasks are displayed. Now let us see how it works in Todoist. We go into filters and text and the filters here appear on their own. If you have prioritized any and if you have any tasks assigned to you, the filters will show up here. But if you want to create your own filter, you will have to turn to the Todoist encyclopedia. Go to their site and start exploring the basics about filters. Every symbol means something. And notice the intersection of task properties. You can search for a filter by keyword. For example, to create a filter that has the word meeting in it, you would type search meeting. Let us create a new filter. Now add, and if you click on this filter, all tasks with the word meeting will be displayed in this filter. If you want the tasks to have 2 words, for example, meeting and today, you need to write this symbol and. You can also create filters with a due date. To add a label, you need to write at and the name of the label. Let me create such a filter, which will consist of several properties. To do this, I am going to select home at. Now I have all the tasks that are in the home project displayed here in the task list. I now click on edit, enter the end symbol and click on search meeting. I click save. Now all the tasks that are related to the home project and have the word meeting in the name are opened. Now next I click on edit, click on the end symbol, select P1, click on save. That is priority 1. Now there should be 1 task here. Yes, this is the task that intersects with all these filters. Well, in general, to use the filters, you need to learn all these symbols, or you need to use the application manual, which is on their website. And the question: am I sure that I have downloaded Task Manager and not a manual for novice programmers? And also, by the way, if you scroll down, there is a question: can I filter completed tasks? Unfortunately, this is not possible yet. In Leader task there is an opportunity to display completed tasks by your filter. Next are the projects in Leader task and in Todoist. You can create projects in Todoist either as a list or as a board. And, by the way, you can change this display at any time. But in Leader task, boards and projects are different entities. Projects contain tasks and boards contain cards. And they help me visually see what stage my goal is even at. Good examples of my boards that I can show you are, For example, candidate send new clients, where each card is a different person. And first of all, I write a chat on each person. And if it goes well, then I add it to either success or failure. And then I can see the completed tasks that have been done for the entire period. By the way, I couldn't work in Todoist like this, because there is no such thing as a rejected task. You can only complete a task. Let us talk about collaboration in these task managers. What is collaboration in leader task? It is when a license holder adds his employees to his team and then he can work with them in common projects, in common boards or assign tasks directly. Let me show you. I have 3 employees, one of them is me. And I can assign a task to my colleague. This is my personal task. But I can assign it to Cyril, for example. I click OK and now in the task assigned to me query there is a task make an invoice. I can also create common projects where all my employees will be, if it is necessary to work on some common big goal and create tasks there all together. What is the deal with collaborative work in Todoist? It is just not there. How so, you ask? But let us take a look. We go to their website and see that there is a business tariff for teams. We click try it for free and it turns out that Todoist is not ready for teamwork yet. But you can still work with your colleagues on shared projects. To do this, you need to add your colleague in the project properties. Choose project sharing and add your colleague via email. I already have one. And after that you can assign an executive in this project. But if you are a manager and you need to work with employees, this is not the most convenient way. Because if you want to assign some personal task to your colleague, you will not be able to do it. Everyone who is in the project will see it. But then you will have too many projects. And by the way, one more significant difference that distinguishes leader task from Todoist, and in general from many programs, is that only the creator of the task can change its content. That is, if you, for example, are a manager and have assigned your colleague to perform some task, he will not be able to delete it, change its title, description, or date. Therefore, if you have assigned him something, he will have to fulfill what is written there. He will not be able to take it and forget about it or not fulfill it. And that is why I've said many times that leader task is a great, perfect tool just for a manager. I have compared the functions of 2 of the strongest task schedulers used by people all over the world. Write in the comments which function you think is really the most important. So, what can we summarize? If you have minimal requirements for such applications, like just creating tasks, then you can use the free version of each of these apps, but with limitations. Well, if you liked the functions of leader task, I remind you that you can download it for free at the link in the description and get a free trial period of 3 days. Bye bye.